Good morning, sir.
Whether everyone joined or still joining?
Still joining, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Okay.
Lamu, sir.
So let them join. So we'll start with the class. Okay. Is everyone able to see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So
Yes, sir.
yesterday we left uh, in the particular slide. This slide, I think. Okay. So yesterday we have briefed about the syllabus and what exactly we are going to learn in this subject. Okay. So today we'll start with the continuation. Okay. So as I told, these are the different units you are going to study in this. Okay, fine. Right. So how many of you? Okay, coming to this slide. How many of you know the popular languages which we have? C, C++, Java, Perl, Fortran, Python, or MATLAB. Yes. C, everyone has studied, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there any subject, any language you have studied, either C++ or Java, in any PU or
A little bit of C++.
C++, yes, sir.
C++? Okay. Is C++ procedure oriented or object oriented language?
Object
Object
oriented, sir.
oriented.
Object oriented.
Object oriented.
Yes, yes. Okay, so C++, Java, okay, Python, all these languages are object-oriented languages. Okay, so why the name object-oriented? Why it is called as object-oriented? Okay, so whenever you are dealing with the object-oriented languages, okay, so the mainly focus will be on objects, okay, rather than the procedure or function in case of C language. Okay, so in case of C language, what happens? The main focus, concentration, the task will be based on the functions. Okay, so functions are the one which will perform the task in C language, right? Whereas in case of object-oriented languages, the main focus will be on object rather than the functions. Okay. So whenever I say object, right, so you need to have a class. So as I discussed in the, don't make your audio on. Okay, so just mute your audio and you just listen it. Okay. So as I told, so object-oriented languages, yesterday also I have discussed, I think. So whenever the object-oriented the language comes, so you will have the word like class, right? So you need to write a class. Okay, as I told, class is nothing but it is a user-defined data type. User-defined data type which contains data members and member functions. Data members and member functions, right? So in order to access the data members and member functions, you are going to use you are going to create an object. Okay? You are going to create an object. So using that object, you will be accessing the data members and member functions which are present inside the class. Okay, so that's how the any object-oriented program will work. Either it can be a C++ or a Java, or if you are written in a Python also. Okay. So we will understand in future classes how exactly you have to write the object-oriented program using the class and how it works. Okay. So don't worry about that. So next, so for Python, as I told, it's an object-oriented. Okay. And one of the another important feature or the main important point about the Python is it is an interpreted language. It is an, if you see the third point, Python is an interpreted language. Okay, so what do you mean by interpreter or interpreted language? Anyone? Hmm? Yes. Anybody, if you know the answer, okay. So whatever it might be, if it is correct or wrong, don't bother about that. You just give the answer. What is the meaning of interpreter or interpreted language?
It does not have compiler.
It does not have compiler. Okay. Right. Any other answers? Okay, it is your answer is 50% correct. Then next, if you don't have the compiler, then how the debugging will happen? Yes. Any answers? Okay, fine. So you know the compilation, right? Compiler, you know, right? In C language, you have stated compiler. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So uh, in order to get the output, which is written in C language, right? So first, what are the different phases? I will just explain in brief. Okay. So first, you need to write source code, the code which you are writing in using an English language. So basically, it is the program which you are writing in C language is a combination of C syntax, the language C plus the English language. Okay, so that is called as a source code or a source program, right? So once you wrote the source code, right, you need to compile the program, right? So if you are using a turbo C, you might have used Alt C, okay, or if you have used the Unix operating system, okay, using the different editor, VI editor or G editor. So you'll be using for compilation, you are using cc filename.c. Are you aware of this? Which platform you have used for C programming in the last semester?
Linux.
Linux is the operating system. Okay, in Linux. Okay, Linux you have used. Okay, so you will be using either VI editor,
GCC compilation.
GCC compiler, G editor. Okay,
Intex edit.
so yeah, okay, fine. So in order to compile, you will be using either if you are using a G editor, you can use either GCC compiler. Okay, so for compilation, you will be using a specific command cc filename.c like that. Okay, so that means so your source program will be going to convert into an what is called as, whenever you convert the source program, that means whenever you compile, so what kind of intermediate code you will get?
Low level language.
Low level. So what kind
Machine code.
of machine code? Okay, directly
Machine
you get
level
machine
code.
Machine level you will directly get once you compile the language, compile the program. Will you get the machine code directly? is any other phases involved or any other machine code you will get at the, you have one more code called as object code. Have you heard object code?
No, sir.
Okay, so internally, so when you compile the program, so what happens? The source program will be converted into an object code. Okay, so that you can't read, right? Machine code, okay, you can call it as, but it will not be readable. It will not be readable. Okay, so once you have the object code, then you need to run the program in order to get the exe file. Okay, so once you have the exe file, then you just run it, you will get the output. Okay, so that means you need a compilation to get object code. Then after the object code, so you are going to run, you will have a exe file, then you get the output. Okay, so that means, so for C, C++, Java and all, you require a compilation process. The compilation process will be involved. Okay, so there is whereas if you come to the Python, okay, so the compilation is not required, or the compilation will not be there in Python. Okay. So you're just going to run the program. Okay, you are just going to run the program. Interpreter is nothing but, so it will take line by line. It will take line by line of your program and it gets executes. Okay, so parallelly, all the lines will get execute and it will get the corresponding output. Is it clear? So whereas in compilation, what happens? So all the lines of your code will be taken into consideration. Compilation will happen, then you will get an object code. Then after that, you will have to run the program. Okay, so that means the compiler is the one which will takes all the lines of your code and it will execute. Okay, whereas in case of interpreter is the one which executes line by line. Okay, so ultimately the time which is required for executing the program will be less in case of interpreter compared to the compiled languages. Okay, so any doubt? You understood the interpreter?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so interpreter simple in terms, which will takes a line by line, it will execute the code and it will get the output. Okay. So interpreter provides an interactive environment to play with the language. Okay, so it will have an interactive environment. That means, so it provides a platform in such a way that, so it will interact, it will communicate with the other parts of a program. Okay, so and finally you will get the output onto the output screen, right? So the Python has developed by the scientist named Guido van Rossum, okay, in the year 1991. So he is the one who has created the language, Python language. Okay. The name of the person is Guido van Rossum. Okay, so you need to remember. Okay. So if someone asks, right, who has developed the Python language, or in any MCQ questions, you may get these kind of questions. Okay. Okay, so we'll move on to the next slide. Dynamic typing. Python is a dynamic typing. As I told, okay, so whereas C is statically C or Java is a statically typed languages. So in case of statically typed what happens is variables are declared to refer to the objects of a given type. Okay, so just I will write it here. So whenever you want to declare a variable in C or a Java, how exactly you are going to declare? Tell me. In C, you have studied C, right? So how exactly you are going to declare a variables?
Using data type int char.
Yes, using a data type, you are going to declare a variable, right? Like this, int a comma b, right? So this is how you are going to declare a variable, right? Int a comma b, right? So in statically typed languages, what happens? So you need to specifically declare the variables with the corresponding data type. Okay, so then only the compiler will understand. So a and b will be of type integer. So if I want to have a floating point, then you need to write as a float. Okay, so float c comma d like this. Okay, so here the compiler understands c and d will be of type float. Correct. Okay. So, and another thing, another point is methods use type signatures to enforce the contract. Okay, that means so based on the type of the variable, so the variable will be identified whether it is an integer or a float. Okay? So, and accordingly, the values will be gets assigned. Right. So that's how the statically typed. That means at the compilation time, statically typed meaning is you will be the coming to know the type of the variable in the compilation time itself. A and B is of type integer, C and D is of type float. Okay, so statically type is nothing at the time of compilation. Okay, so whereas you come to the Python, okay, so if you come to the Python, so Python is dynamic, dynamically typed or dynamic typing you can call. Okay, dynamically typed language. So what is the meaning of dynamically typed or dynamic typing? So dynamic typing is nothing but it is at the runtime. Okay, so dynamically typed is nothing but during the runtime. During the runtime, the variables come into existence when it is assigned to. Okay, a variable can refer to an object of any type. Okay, so that means so in Python, so if no need to have a data type, no need to whenever you are declaring a variable, you need not to specify the data type. Suppose so I want to have for a integer value a is equal to 10. It is sufficient. So if you assign a is equal to 10, so the interpreter will understands that okay, the value of a is an integer. How it understands is basically by seeing the value. In the right hand side, you have a integer value 10, right? So the 10 is nothing but it's an integer. If I print a, then you'll get the particular output. Okay. So if I assign a floating point value 10.5, then the compiler, the interpreter will understand that a is of type float. So that means, so based on the value which you are going to assign to a variable will determines the type. Okay, so that's the difference between static typing and dynamic typing. At the runtime itself, the interpreter will understand what is the type of the variable. Okay, so you need not to have int, float, char, or whatever. Okay, so this is the flexibility which is given in Python. Okay, so you need not to have int, float declaration here. Okay, so here, okay, so here all the types are treated the same way. Treated the same way. So that nothing but so based on the here based on the value which you are assigning, that will be decided. Okay. So the main drawback here is type errors are only caught at a runtime because you don't have a compilation. Okay. So whatever the errors you are getting, okay, so the errors will be getting generated at a runtime. Okay. So any any doubts? Okay. Any doubts here?
No, sir.
Any doubt you can ask in between also. Okay, so that's how the statically typed Java is statically typed and Python is a dynamically typed. So coming to the Python interpreter, sorry, the environment. Okay, so whenever you install uh, the Python, okay, so you'll get the prompt like this. Okay, so this is the sample which I have shown here, the idle GUI environment. Okay, so whenever you open the C programs, right, you are going to get what is called as the Turbo C editor, the Turbo C editor window, right? So you'll be having the editor. So where you are going to write your program, right? So you need a Turbo C software, or you can use uh, uh, if you are using in a Linux, so any of the editor, VI or a G editor. Okay. So this is the editor window where you can write your Python programs. Okay. So whenever you install a Python, right? So you'll get a you need to open the particular file. Okay. Then it will shows the current version of the Python. Okay, this is the old version Python 2. Now you have a new version 3.6 or 3.7. Okay, so you will get a prompt like this, three what you call the three greater than symbols. Okay, so that is the prompt for the Python. Okay, that is the prompt uh, for the Python. So here one just simple example here I have shown here. Okay, so no, don't bother about how exactly it works. It's using a for loop. Okay, for I in range x star star 2 for x in range of 5. Okay. So that means you know the for loop, right? So for is looping, so it will execute the set of statements until the condition is become false. Okay. So suppose I want to generate a square of the numbers. Okay. So then I'll be writing using the for loop for I in I told to join it on time, but the people are still coming. Okay, so this should not be because I have started on time. So yesterday also I had told, but don't repeat from the next class onwards, right? So for I in, right? So this is how you are going to write the for loop in Python. Okay. So in C you will be using a for loop as for open the bracket I equal to 0 semicolon I less than and I plus plus. Okay. So that's the syntax which you have used in C. But here if you want to write a for loop for I in, okay, so then within the bracket x star star. Okay, so double star indicates if you are calculating the power of a value, okay, exponential value, then you need to use 2 star. Okay, so single star indicates the multiplication, 2 star indicates the exponential value you are going to calculate. Okay, for x in range. Okay, so range is nothing but again a function, so which basically gives the value starting from 0 to the value which you are mentioning within the bracket. x in range of 5. Okay, so from 0 to 5 it will generates the value. Okay, so what value I want to have? X star star 2. Okay, then you need to going to print. So first value will be 0, 0 star star 2, that is 0. Then 1, 1 star star 2, 1 square, that is 1. 2 square, 2. 3 square, 9. Okay, 4 square, 16, like that. Okay, so this is how the sample program has been shown here. Don't, if you are not understanding this, the particular syntax or the code, you don't bother about it. Just the usage of the showing the Python GUI environment here that is shown. Okay, so we'll go to the next, the simple program. So using the print statement. Okay, I'll just ask a simple question here. So what is the function which you are using in C language in order to print a value or a print a message?
Printf.
Printf. Okay, so you are going to use a printf statement or a printf function. Rather, it is called as a function. Printf function is used in order to print a value. Okay, so in Python, you are going to use a print function. Okay, not the printf. Here you are going to use a print function in order to display the output into the screen. Okay, so here the first print. Okay, Pratik, why the people are coming now? Pratik, okay. Print inside the bracket hello. Okay. So this is the syntax of you are writing in a Python. Okay, by using the print function within the bracket. Okay, bracket, you need to write the message within a single quote or a double quote. Okay, so you can use either a single quote or a double quote. Here it is shown with a single quote. You can also use double quote. Okay, then it will use the output as hello. Then similarly print hello comma world. So what happens here? So the two strings hello, you have a space here, then world, you have given a space. So if I want to display the two different strings, so you can do like this. Okay. With the comma also you can make use of the comma in order to display the two strings. Okay. Then print hi comma. Okay. Hi. So what is the difference here in the first print and the third print? Anyone? What difference you are observing in the first print and the third print?
There's no inverted commas.
Inverted comma.
Single.
In third print, we have a comma.
Comma. So, oh, okay, comma
But in
is
first print, we don't have.
you don't have the comma. So what it affects to the output? That's I'm asking.
So when we have comma, it shifts it to the next line.
When you have a comma,
It shifts to the next line.
it switch to the next line. Okay.
When there is no comma, then the output is fixed. Like we can't change.
Okay. Yes. Yes. Almost correct. Okay. So here, so in the print, so if you don't have a comma, so what the interpreter understand, it is only a one string. Okay. So the prompt will not be in that particular line. So if you see here in the third print, if you have a comma, the interpreter will understand that there is something present after this string also, or the statement also. So the prompt will be there in that particular line itself. Okay, so that's the difference. So whenever, if I want to, as I told, whenever you want to declare a variable, right? I need not to have a data type x equal to 100.5, print x, print in the bracket x. So it is going to display the value 100.5. Okay. So in C, how you are doing? So if I want to display the value of a variable, how exactly you are going to write in a C language? Yes, anybody?
Printf,
Huh?
using printf
Using printf.
and
Okay,
format specifier.
that is fine, but I'm telling the declaration of variable, so you need to use a particular data type, right? You need to use a particular data type. Either it can be an int, or it can be a float, or it can be a char or a double, whatever it might be. Okay. So whereas in case of uh, Python, so you need not to have the uh, way, what is that data type name. You need not to give the data type name. Okay. So you can directly assign, and you can just print the value. So any doubt here? Yes. So I'll just okay. We'll see. We'll have another some. After that, we'll see how exactly the Python programs will work with the software. Okay. So I have the software. I'll see how exactly it works. So Python next this slide is in Python scripts. Okay. So as I told in the yesterday class also. So it is Python is also one of the scripting language. Python is also called as a scripting language. Why it is scripting? Why it is the name scripting is nothing but. So if you have a script is nothing but if you have a small piece of code. Okay. So it consists of 3 to 4 lines long. Okay. So then it is called as a script. So Python is also called as a scripting language. Okay. So whenever you write a code in the Python, okay, and the Python file will be saved, or you can identify the Python file by using the extension .py. Okay, whenever you write a Python file, you need to add .py that indicates the Python file. Okay, so if I want if I want to save the C file, you are using .c. Okay, so if I want to save the C++ file .cpp, if I want to save the Java file .java, or if I want to identify the particular language files, so the particular convention or the suffix you are going to use. Okay, so .py is the suffix at the end of the file in order to indicate the Python file. Okay. So here one more simple code which I have written here. So just I want to print a message, welcome to Dr. AIT. Okay. So you know that if I want to print a message in the output screen, so I need to use which function? Print. Okay, so print is the function in order to print any message or any value into the screen. Okay, so just use a print. Within the bracket, you can either use, as I told, you can use a single quote or double quote. Here I have used a double quotes. Okay, so within that you can write welcome to Dr. AIT. Okay, so this will display the output as welcome to Dr. AIT. Okay, so in the same program, I want to have addition of two values. I want to write a program which calculates the addition of two variables. Okay, so here just a is equal to 2 plus 3, print of a. Okay, so you'll get the first it will calculate the addition of 2 plus 3 5, so that will be displayed in the screen. So if I want to write this addition program in a C language, so how much line it will require? Just anyone tell me? 3 to 4. What are all those? Yes, tell me, what are the lines you are going to write for addition, some simple addition program?
Variable declaration.
Okay, variable declaration,
Then printf
Scan.
and scanf.
Scanf.
scanf. If you want to take the input from the user, you will need to have a
Yes.
scanf. Okay,
And then one more printf to print the value.
print the value. Okay, so roughly you need, then you need to write a header files, you need to write. Okay,
Yes.
yes or no? You need to write a main function, right? Some 6 to 7 lines will be required for just addition of two numbers. Yes or no? Okay, whereas in case of Python, what happens? So this is the reason the Python is very simple language and easy to understand for anybody. Okay, so whoever is not having any knowledge, basic knowledge of any high level languages, C or whatever it might be, you can easily understand. So it is just a mathematics, right? So a equal to 2 plus 3, print of a, right? So it just gives the output. Someone has Abdur Rahman. Audio mute ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. Okay. Right. Right. So this is this just two lines of code for addition. Just you are assigning the value, or you can uh, take the values of a variable and you can just do the operation and print the output. Okay. Will it be a simple or complex? Hmm? Is it a simple compared to C language?
Simple.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
It's simple.
Simple, sir.
Okay. So fine.
Not lengthy.
Yeah, it's not lengthy. So the code, the length of the code will be reduced, or you will require a less number of lines of code. Okay, not only for this example, if you can. So Python is having a rich library. Okay, it is having so many inbuilt functions are there in Python in order to write any long big complex programs also. Okay, you have a built-in libraries, built-in functions are present in the Python. So if you can make use of all those, you can write complex programs also in a simple way, or in a less number of using a less number of lines. Okay, all right. So just move on to the basics of your syllabus. Already you might be knowing in the C also. Okay, just a little bit deviation or just modifications will be there. Okay, so Python keywords, identifiers, and variables. Right. So these are the main building blocks of Python programming. Right. So for any of the language, not only the Python, you require you have to know, you have to have a keywords, identifiers, variables in any of the programming languages you study. Okay. So the Python keyword is unique. The Python keyword is a unique programming term intended to perform some action. There are as many as 33 such keywords in Python. Okay, so each will be having its own purpose, right? So you have 33 such keywords in Python. So how many were there in a C language? Any idea? Same number or different? Keywords present in C language. 32. Okay. Fine. Right. So Python, as you know that the keyword. So how exactly you are going to define the keyword? Keyword. How do you define the keyword definition? Or how exactly you are defining the keyword? Yes.
Keyword is a predefined meaning.
Predefined meaning. Okay. So keywords are those words. They are the reserved words. So with the predefined meaning, you are not going to change the name or the meaning of the particular word. Okay.
Keywords are case
Keywords
sensitive.
are case sensitive. Yes. Interesting answer. Then, so if you write int, okay, so that's how you need to write it, using a small case only. Okay, you can't use the uppercase, right? That is also one of the important point, right? So next, then, right? So Python keywords are the special words which are reserved, as I told, okay, which have a specific meaning. So these are the set of keywords which we have in Python. Okay, so all keywords in Python are case sensitive. Okay, so whatever the answer your friend has given, so here the Python keywords are case sensitive, right? So in C, I think whether you have any keyword which starts with a uppercase letter. Hello. In C language, any keyword which has uppercase, I'm asking. Whether you have an uppercase or only the lowercase. Yes, anybody.
I think it doesn't matter if it's in uppercase or lowercase in C.
Where? In C.
In C, yes sir.
You can have uppercase also. Will it?
Maybe.
Will whether you have executed the program which you have written with the uppercase?
I don't know, sir.
No, right? So you have to have only the lowercase. For integer, double, if else, or whatever you have used, you will be mainly you are using the lowercase letters, right? So here, as I told, it is a case sensitive. Okay, all keywords are case sensitive. Some of the keywords will start with uppercase here. If I want to write a false, so if I want to have a keyword false, so F will be capital here. True. So the first letter will be a capital. Okay. So the keywords are case sensitive in Python. Okay. Right. So this is another alternative way in order to know the keyword. So once again, so here, so in front of the help prompt. So if you type keywords, okay, so you are going to, the interpreter is going to display all the keywords which are there in the Python. Or another way is just write import keyword. Okay, so import is nothing but like include in your C language. Okay, so if I want to include any of the header files, you are using include, right? Hash include stdio footage. So in the similar manner, you are going to use import. Okay, so import keyword, right? Keyword.kw list. Okay, keyword is nothing but it is a module. Keyword is nothing but a module. So if I want to import, if I want to include the particular model, you need to write like this: import keyword. Okay, so keyword dot kw list, keyword list. Then you'll be getting the all the keywords, right, with separated comma, right? Okay. So coming to the identifier, So identifier is the one which will identifies the programming element, which can be a variable, which can be a function, class, module, or it can be anything. Okay, so Python identifiers are used in order to name the variable, or in order to name the function, a class, a module, or any other object also. So if you assign some name to program entity, then it is nothing but identifier. Okay, so that is the simple definition. So identifier is the one which will identifies the programming entity or the programming element, which can be a variable, or it can be a function, or a class, or any other entity which is present in the program. So in order to write up identifiers, you will have a set of rules, right? So in the C language also you have a set of rules. What are the rules in C language? Can you just explain one, anyone? Yes, cost. You already learned these concepts. That's why I'm just asking the questions. Okay, instead of explaining by me, if I know from the answers from yourself, then it will be better. Yes.
The first letter of an identifier should be either a letter or an underscore.
Okay. Then only one keyword.
You cannot use keywords as
You yes.
identifiers.
Okay. Then only that's it. Only two.
We
So
cannot use numbers in beginning.
okay, beginning the numbers should not be used. So whatever you have the rules for identifier in C language, the same thing will be applicable in Python also. There is no change. Okay, so in order to form the identifier, so you can use a combination of lowercase or an uppercase letter, okay, A to Z, small a to Z, or capital A to Z, and you can have the digits 0 to 9, the numbers, okay, and you can also have the underscore option also. You can also have the underscore within the identifier. Okay, so the example here, shape class. Okay. So you can shape. So one is uppercase. You can have a combination of uppercase and lowercase. Shape underscore one is the one which is the valid identifier. Okay. Then upload underscore shape to DB. So you can have more than one underscore also. Okay. So the only the restrictions for writing the identifier is the number should not be there in the beginning. Okay, so for example, zero shape, that is an incorrect. Okay, but you can have the number at the end. Right, that is another the rules for the identifier. Okay, so the next one is the keywords are reserved. You should not use the keywords for identifier. Okay, so as one of your friend has told, so the keyword should not be used as identifier. That is there in the C also, right? So for is equal to 1. So if you are using an assigning a value to a keyword, that will not be that is not the correct syntax. So you will get an invalid syntax. And another is Python identifier can also not have a special characters. Okay, so you can't have any special characters like dot, then at the rate symbol, Okay, exclamatory, hash, dollar, percentage. So these symbols will not be used for writing the identifiers. So you'll get an error, right? So hash at the rate index equal to 0. So you'll get an syntax error. So and the last, the rules is Python document says that you can have an identifier with unlimited length, but it uses a half, but it is just a half truth. Okay, that means, so you can have, so the last point is you can have an identifier with as many as unlimited length, but that is the rule says, but you can have up to, okay, so as large as 79. Okay, so up to 79 characters you can have the identifier name. Okay, if it is more than 79, so it will have some I don't I will not get a error. I think it is some the violation of the rule. So that means the maximum characters you can have is 79. So these are the different identifier rules you are going to have in a Python. So which is the next class? Just want to know. You have the next class?
DLD.
D&D, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, it will be there on time.
Sir, we got links already.
Okay, thank you. Okay, then I will wind up here. Okay.
Okay,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Very nice.